Well, YouTube, it's your boy Tisoy. Hope you're doing better than I am. Today we're going to be reviewing the game Rogue-lite Ultra. Before we get into that, I would like to shout out Future Friends Games. On behalf of the indie developer that actually made this game, Lino Slahushek. Sorry if I said that wrong or butchered that name. And their publisher is Rogue-lite. Thank you to all three of these groups that gave me the opportunity to review this game and gave me a review copy before the game actually came out, so I'm able to make this video and drop it right when the game releases on November 14th, 8 AM Pacific Standard Time. So if you're interested, make sure to check it out. I can link the Steam page in the description below. Also, if I sound a little weird, I started getting sick right before I had to make this video, so I apologize. Please bear with me. So down below, I'll have timestamps. If there's anything you're looking for in specific, let's get right into it. Rogue-lite Ultra, I would define as a roguelite platformer. Rogue-lite Ultra, although on Steam says it is a roguelike, I define this as a roguelite platformer. To better understand this, I looked up roguelike on Wikipedia, and this is what they had to say. Roguelike is a subgenre of role-playing video games traditionally characterized by a dungeon crawl through procedurally generated levels, turn-based gameplay, grid-based movement, and permanent death of the player character. Most roguelikes are based on a high fantasy narrative reflecting their influence from the tabletop role-playing games such as Dungeons & Dragons. If you continue on to the Wikipedia, it says that there is no definite answer or anything that's finite. The way I see what a roguelike is, it is a game that may have the same map, enemies, and power-ups, but all these factors are random, which for future parts of this video I will be saying RNG, which stands for random number generator. So essentially what a roguelike is to me is that everything is completely random, so such as maps, character spawns, how you get to the next level, etc, etc. The main thing that makes a roguelike I think in modern day is power-ups. So every time you get into a game, the power-ups are completely random. For examples of these games, we have Dead Cells, Hades, Risk of Rain, and Slay the Spire. Roguelite is essentially a roguelike, but you have something that you get to keep and gives you a permanent buff for future runs. Don't mistake this with unlocking new weapons, characters, power-ups, and or cards if you're playing Slay the Spire or other deck building roguelikes. For example, if you played Hades, which is probably the most popular roguelike that I know about, you can buy weapons using the in-game currency, but the power-ups you get in the actual game are random. So the gold that you spend to buy the weapons aren't necessarily a buff, they're just a different way of playing, if that makes sense. In this game, you actually can get a currency called Malbytes, and the Malbytes you can use to upgrade your characters that you get, and the characters are just permanently buffed. So to me, it is a roguelite, but I digress. Either way, it's about the same, considering there's not actually a definite answer. I actually have a decent amount of hours in different roguelikes and roguelites, so I think I have some pretty good insight in this genre, so let's get right into it. So, like I said, I do consider this a roguelite or like platformer, and since that's the case, the most important thing to me is going to be movement and builds. Movement is quite simple actually. We got jump, move left and right, and a ground pound. If you're on a wall, you slide down slowly, or you can jump off of it and essentially climb any wall. You also have a bomb where you just drop a bomb on you unless you have some type of power-ups that make it do other special abilities, and you also have active abilities. You can actually keybind everything to play on one hand if you're playing mouse and keyboard, or I guess keyboard, or you can play in a controller, which I did not test myself. Playing in keyboard was actually pretty simple. I played with essentially one hand. The only time that I would need to use a second hand was if I was using active items, which I tried to stay away from considering that I just wanted to use the one hand. I kept all my controls default just for the review, so I can try to play the game as much as the dev intended. With movement, ground pound I found actually pretty OP, as it helps dodge a lot of incoming projectiles. Since you're always on the move, and like ground pounding makes you move faster, because it makes you bounce and gives you elasticity off bouncing off people's heads, or it gives you the speed to go down, or at least it seems like the speed's going down, or the speed is going up while going down. To be fair, this might just be a me thing, considering that I don't play a lot of platformers. The way you shoot in this game is automatically done by the character while you just move around. All you have to do is get close enough that the character will shoot, and it will. This doesn't necessarily mean it will hit, but it will shoot. You don't even have to aim. Now, I personally like this since, like I said, I don't play platformers much, so it was nice to give me the opportunity to focus on dodging and movement rather than aiming as well. Seems like this game is made and open to new players, but it also has a lot of good challenges that is rewarding for players that are experienced. I actually beat the first stage boss in my first try without any abilities, or maybe one or two, just because I was like just movementing and essentially dodging everything. One thing I do like about this is that even though I killed the boss in the beginning, I was able to still explore all of stage 1 and get all of the buffs, and I could have left whenever. I'll get into that later, and let's get into the builds. In other roguelikes and roguelites, I have felt there's nothing you can do just because of your RNG. Like there's some runs where you just can't come back from. The power-ups don't mesh well, you didn't get enough power-ups maybe, and it's usually in games that depend on shooting or deck building. I feel like games with movement, that's like the biggest thing, so like Hades, I personally feel like you can always beat it if you're good enough and you know how to dodge. But there's games like Risk of Rain and Say the Spire that I feel like if your run just has really bad RNG, you're just not gonna get anywhere. It is what it is, and like I think there's an aspect to that is rewarding, considering that like, oh, I got really good RNG, this run is so cool, like look how fast I'm beating the boss, etc, etc. And then also this game is doomed, but I still beat it because I'm good at movement, if that makes sense. But in Rogue Glitch Ultra, I feel like they do it right. The game really rewards you for being able to stay alive because the builds you get are really good. Like everything meshes really well, and I feel like there's nothing that really puts you down. In this game, they actually introduce synergies in between your abilities and power-ups. If you get even one damage synergy maxed out, it usually can do enough damage as long as you're dodging. Obviously, more synergies the better for damage output. I'm just saying that in the sense of possibilities. So I really like that in the game it gives you gold, and with that gold you can choose to open up random chests that spawn, and the cost of the chest is based off of the rarity of the item that's coming out. There are also rooms that give you more rewards for challenges that can complete your builds, which may include but not limited to time attacks, obstacle courses, item transformation, corrupted items, pretty much random stats. Sometimes there are negative stats, so you lose some, and many more. There are multiple ways the game works to get you to that point, and it's nice, and a lot of runs don't feel doomed. Don't get me wrong, it's still possible to get a really bad run and just bad RNG and your game is just doomed, but I feel like this game does it right to the point where it really is based off of your movement. I definitely believe that this game appeals more to platformers than roguelikers, but it's a little bit of both for sure. Via ratio, it definitely leans more towards being a platformer. Last part we'll be going over is just how the map works. The progression of the game is by, I guess, rooms. In each and every stage the enemies are the same, at least in the beginning. But the formatting of the platforms, the enemy placement, type, and number are all RNG. Each stage you'll have to explore the rooms until you have access to the stage boss. Once finished, you can either immediately go to the next stage or you can go back to things you may have missed within the stage. For example, let's just say you need maybe 4 more gold to open up a certain chest that you want open, and so you decide to fight the boss. Then you can go back to the previous stage, buy the chest, and then leave. Every time you pass a stage, in the beginning of the next stage, you have the option to save and quit. But I have noticed that if you start the stage, you have to finish it, which I kind of like. The reason why I like this is because a lot of other roguelikes don't even give you the option, so at least it's possible to leave here and like not lose your progress. Obviously, you can just pause and leave your system on, but that's completely up to you. One thing about progression with this game that I really like as well, the first 3 runs are essentially mandatory for you to actually play the real game. So pretty much it just gives you a tutorial and eases you into the game, which I really like because it gives you options to unlock new things and also start leveling people up and kind of get into the game. It's essentially the main information you need to hear about it from me. Hope I was pretty informational. If you want any more information or any suggestions or anything, please comment down below. Also, if this video does pretty well, I may drop more videos about it. I know after this video drops I have at least one other video coming out, but if this gets really good views, I'll probably drop more videos. Let me know what people need. You know, I would think about doing a video about like how to play and like what my play style is, what do I think, what I have found to be successful pretty much. But yeah, comment down below, like, subscribe, all of the above. Honestly, just giving me the view is, I'm really thankful for that. Thank you so much again to Future Friends Games, to Lino Slohushek, and Rarebite. Like, subscribe, all of the above. Usually in the description I have all of my socials. I'll include the Steam link and timestamps down below as well. I appreciate everyone so much. I hope everyone has a wonderful time. I'll see you later.